What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary from the XMG coming at you today to bring you a viewer requested video for Robin Bad Noob series. So everybody knows I don't like Robin Bad, but did this video change my mind on him? You have to wait and see. But before we get into that, if you are not part of the XMG family, you should be part of that XMG family. We hit 400 subscribers. We're pushing hard for 500. So click that subscribe button and join, so you don't miss out on good stuff coming your way. Turn on the notification bell, like the videos, leave me comments. I'll always respond. So let's get into Robin Bad for noobs. Robin Bad is a human fighter, ranger, and traveler. If you haven't been watching my videos for long, I sank a lot of blue scrolls into Robin Bad early in the game to try to help me out to get through the campaign, and it was a mistake. At that point in the game, it was a very big mistake for me. I wasted a lot of blue scrolls, I wasted gold, time, effort, and the reason why it was a mistake for me is that he is extremely squishy. And when you're going through the campaign, your tanks aren't built up yet in the early game. But let's get into his stats, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Robin Bad does physical damage. His physical damage comes in at 2769, which is actually pretty good. His critical chance is at 31.05%. Again, usually average is about 30%, so he's just a touch above average. His health is at 15,189, which is terrible. Physical armor is at 25%. Magic armor is at 25%. It's about middle of the road, a little bit under average. His shield is at 17,964. Again, that is terrible. His speed is at 129. Not horrendous. Little bit of below average, but not terrible. And his potency is at 35%. Tenacity is at 25%. So the things we learned from Robin Bad off of his stats are his health and shield combination is just above 30,000. Absolutely horrific. He is gear 11 and he only has a little bit above 30,000 health and shield combined. His critical chance isn't too bad. His physical damage is a little bit above average, so that's pretty good. And his speed is about average. So let's take a look at his move kit, see what the moves can do for him, and let's go from there. His first ability is called Bullseye. Deals 260% of physical damage to an enemy. This attack cannot be dodged. A critical hit decreases the target turn meter by 20%. So we learned a couple good things from here. He needs physical damage. This attack on a basic can't be dodged. That's actually pretty good. And then a critical hit decreases the target's turn meter by 20%. But with that, it can still be resisted. It can still go through that tenacity potency check. So we are going to want to put a little potency on this character because he's only at 35%. And reducing turn meter on a basic by 20% would be pretty nice. Second ability is Yo Mama. It deals 270% of physical damage to 3 enemies. Robin Bad has a 40% chance to gain critical chance increase for 2 turns. So that's nice because his Yo Mama move is playing into his basic ability to give himself more critical chance. That 40% chance to gain it has nothing to do with potency or tenacity. His third move is Cunning Fox. Gains a critical damage increase and applies it to all allies for 2 turns. Robin Bad gains damage increase for 2 turns and restores 20% of the turn meter to all allies. So he's giving himself critical damage increase, which you don't see very often in this game. It's usually critical chance, so that's positive, and he's putting it on the whole team. He's giving himself a damage increase for 2 turns, and then he's restoring 20% of the turn meter to all allies. So all in all, this Cunning Fox ability is not that bad. And his passive ability is that he has a 25% chance to counterattack enemies, plus a 5% chance for each living human in the party. So if you're running him with a full human team, you are giving himself essentially a 50% chance to counterattack. And then Soleus also has the ability to counterattack in his leadership for humans. So if you're running him under a Soleus lead, he definitely would be counterattacking with his basic with that chance to decrease turn meter. So that's not that bad. So what did we learn looking at Robin Bad's move kit? We learned that he needs physical damage. He is your quintessential glass cannon. But he actually brings some other things to the party in the form of critical damage increase. He's reducing turn meter, and he has the chance to counterattack. The problem is you really don't want him to get hit because he is a glass cannon. So off his move kit, how can we ruin this guy? Well, you could try to make him more survivable. You could go all health runes, you could go health and armor, you could go health, armor, potency, you could do potency and health, you could go critical chance and damage, you could go crit damage and critical chance, you could go damage and potency. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You could go damage and health, you could go critical damage and health. But here's the thing I learned. When I was runing him to play around to make this video, you put all health runes on him, and his health is honestly still abysmal. He's still a glass cannon. He still takes a lot of damage. So the way I found to rune him, which is the most beneficial for a team, is critical chance and critical damage. You're giving himself some critical chance, and then he's already giving himself critical damage, but then if you put that set on, it brings it to a 180% critical damage. Then his bonus gives it even more, so his damage output is way, way better. So I am going to rune him with a critical chance, critical damage set, which is actually pretty free to play. It is something that is farmable in pretty much, I believe, Campaign 2 of the Invasion of Demons, so it's very free to play friendly as well. So let me rune him, I'll be right back, and I'll show you what we got. Alright, I am back, full rune amulet, critical chance, critical damage. Now what you're looking for in secondary stats is damage, speed, critical chance, potency, and really anything survivability at that point is just going to kind of be a plus and an added bonus. You're really not going to find too much survivability in those secondary stats that are going to make the difference of if he's a glass cannon or not. So let's get going and I'll show you how I runed him. The northern rune is obviously damage, speed, health, shield, and health. I went with the speed primary in the northeastern rune, potency, health, critical chance, and damage. Then in the southeastern rune, I went armor, speed, health, health, and armor. I could not find a speed and a damage secondary. It took me a long time, so I went with this one, and I'm happy with it. Then I went with the critical chance southern rune with speed, damage, shield, and armor. Then I went with the shield in the southwestern rune with speed, damage, and more shield. And then I put on the potency rune in the northwestern. You could put a damage here to increase his damage by another 2.6%. But I found in the testing that having that potency above 50% range really helps bring that turn meter reduction into play more often. So I went with potency, critical chance, armor, damage, and health. So let's see what it did to his stats. So Robin Bad's stats, we brought up his physical damage by 136, bringing it to 2905. And that is okay. I am definitely okay with where we are at right there, because we have his critical damage up by 30% because of the critical damage set, and his critical chance is almost at 50%. So I'm okay with where we have him because we want him to crit, and when he crits, we want him to do that extra damage. So we're okay there. Then his health, we brought up 653. We got it to 15,842. Not much more you can do with that. Brought up his physical armor by 2%, essentially bringing it to 27%. Brought up his magic armor 2.5% to about 27.5%. We brought up his shield 2914 to 20,878, which now means that he has a combined health and shield of 36,000. Still horrendous, but definitely better than where he was. We brought up his speed 29 to 158, so he'll be going more often. That's okay with where that is. And his potency, we brought up 19.43% to 54.43%. And I'm definitely okay with that. Anything over really 50%, I didn't notice a difference. I runed him for potency in the testing, and I had him up to like about 68%, and I sacrificed a lot of critical chance and damage, and it really didn't seem to make a difference. So right around the 50%, 55% threshold is perfect for him, in my opinion. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with what we did with Robin Bad. He got the critical chance, we bumped up his critical damage, we gave him some more speed so we can get that buff to the whole team, and we gave him just a touch more survivability. So all in all, I'm okay with it, but you really want a solid tank, or even two when you are using him, so that you can alleviate the pressure he is going to take. Obviously, running him with a Soleus is preferred. I've tested him with a Soleus and a Patriarch Chi, and that was kind of overkill because I lost some damage in some other spots. But definitely putting him with a Soleus is fantastic. So now we're going to talk about his moveset and how we're going to rune this character. So looking at his first ability at level 2, it deals 110% of physical damage to an enemy, and the attack can't be dodged. We don't get the reduction of turn meter till level 6. So that is a heavy, heavy blue scroll investment. Yo Mama at level 2 deals 130% of physical damage to 3 enemies. Robin Bad has a 15% chance to gain critical chance increase for 2 turns. And physical damage goes up and your critical chance increase goes up the higher you go. Third ability, Cunning Fox at level 2 gains a critical damage increase and applies it to 2 allies for 2 turns. Now as you go up to level 3, you gain it to 3 allies. Then you get the damage increase to Robin Bad at level 4. It reduces the cooldown, gain an ally buff, and then you get to restore 20% of turn meter at level 6. And then his passive ability at level 2, he gains a 10% chance to counter. And as you go up, you get more counter chance, and then level 6 you get each living human in the party. So let me start by saying this. Robin Bad early in the game is not worth your time and investment. Robin Bad at the end game is worth your time and investment. And I was wrong on that. I was terribly against this character. But now that I've actually played him at max level with max level characters around him and max level defenders around him, he can really pump out the damage. The fact he can restore turn meter, he's giving everybody critical damage. He actually partners really well with Slinger. I was wrong about Robin Bad to an extent. Focusing on him in the early game is not recommended. You get a Soleus team up and running, and you have nothing else to work on, he's worth your time. So let's talk about his scroll sync. Everything is at level 2, and where do we start? We are going to start with his Cunning Fox ability. We are going to take that to level 5. We want to take that to level 5 because we want that initial cooldown reduced by 1. So we're going to start there. Then we are going to come to his Yo Mama ability, and we are going to take that to level 3. And we're going to stop there. That gives us 160% physical damage to 3 enemies. Robin Bad has a 20% chance to gain critical chance. Now we are going to go to his basic. At level 2, it deals 110% of physical damage, and it can't be dodged. We're going to take that right to level 6 because we want that critical hit decrease on the target's turn meter. But we've benefited him by waiting to this moment because of the fact that we helped out the rest of the team, and now is the time to raise his basic ability to level 6. Then we're going to come back to his Cunning Fox. We're going to finish that off and take it to level 6. And then we are going to take Yo Mama to level 6. And then we are going to take his passive to level 6. His passive we can leave right at level 2 for now. Because if you're running him under a Soleus lead, you already have the chance to counterattack. And to get that counterattack chance for each living human in the party really isn't necessary. And you can spend those blue scrolls in much more beneficial ways. So that is the last ability I would do. So that's how I'd sync my scrolls into Robin Bad. I believe you're getting the most benefit out of your moves by doing it that way. Now, if you decided to take your basic to level 6 first, that's not a bad move either. So you can decide how you would like to do it yourself, but for me, That was the way I would do it. So YouTube, that's what I got for you today. I have Robin Bad for noobs. I learned a few things about Robin Bad doing this process. Like I said earlier, I was wrong to an extent. I would not focus on Robin Bad early in the game. He's way too squishy, and his damage isn't going to be enough to save you, because you're going to have other things to worry on. But later in the game, he can be extremely beneficial. The movie you're watching right now is significantly increasing the damage of the team. So that's what I got for you. Let me know if there's a video you'd like me to make. I got a couple more viewer requests coming out. But I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and join the XMG family. I love y'all. I'm out.